Let me warmly welcome all participants to the Ecsite conference, Colors of Cooperation, being held in Graz 2016. Please allow me to extend a particularly warm welcome to some of our guests of honor. First among them, the President of the Republic of Austria, Dr. Heinz Fischer, who has always followed the work of the ScienceCenter-Network in Austria with great interest and also is my husband. Just as warmly as him, I would like to welcome the President of the Styrian Parliament, Dr. Bettina Vollath, and the Councillor of the City of Graz for Education, Integration and Sports, Dr. Hohensinner. Finally, I particularly welcome our collaborators of Ecsite under the leadership of President Michiel Buchel and Executive Director Franche. Ladies and gentlemen, the first Ecsite conference I participated in took place in Copenhagen in 1992. I missed only a very few since then. They all were fruitful events, each of them trend-setting in their own way. The discussions I had with many participants were very enlightening for me, in particular those with Celle Duensing and Remo Besio, who both sadly left us last year. I would like to thank them for their tireless commitment to the idea of interactive, engaging, and reflective learning, and to take a moment to gratefully remember them both together with you. Ladies and gentlemen, Ecsite Graz 2016 takes place under the motto of Colors of Cooperation. Why? Colors of Cooperation stands for the many ways of cooperation between the members of this community, which grew to encompass more than 1,000 participants. Colors of Cooperation also signify the organizers. For the first time in the history of Ecsite, 3 organizations arranged this event together: Universalmuseum Joanneum, FRida and Fred, Children's Museum, and the ScienceCenter-Network. They stand for the diversity of the Austrian ScienceCenter-Network with its more than 160 partners. You will hear next from the directors of the 3 organizations who present the large teams that organized and prepared this event. I wish you all interesting discussions, stimuli, and new partners for your future work, and in the truest sense of the word, many colors of cooperation. Thank you.
Dear guest of honor, dear Ecsite colleagues, we welcome you this year Ecsite conference. Welcome to Graz, to Styria, to Austria. Today, a dream has come true for me. Ever since I was curator at the Technical Museum in Vienna, I have been dreaming about an Ecsite conference in Austria. I always remember the Ecsite conference in Luleå in North Sweden in 2001. The Science Center in Luleå is not that big. In fact, it's a smaller science center, but nevertheless, it hosted the Ecsite conference. In Luleå, I was thinking about the big science centers, the dinosaurs that normally host the conference, and suddenly it occurred to me that you don't have to be a dinosaur, a big science center in a big city in order to be able to host the conference. In Luleå, the wish to host the conference sometimes in the future formed itself in my mind. I wanted to make this dream come true when I started here at the Children's Museum, but I knew I need a partner in that project. That was evident. Some years ago, I talked to Wolfgang Muchitsch, the director of the Universalmuseum. You know, it's always a good idea to have a dinosaur by your side. Wolfgang was excited, and we agreed to ask the Austrian ScienceCenter-Network as well to be our partner. And now we are here. I'm very pleased to welcome you in Graz. Mentioning Graz, I would like to thank the city of Graz for supporting us. Special thanks go to the mayor of Graz, who at once agreed to support us, to the deputy mayor, who is in charge of the Children's Museum politically, and to the supervisory board of the Children's Museum. I would also like to thank the Universalmuseum Joanneum and the Austrian ScienceCenter-Network. Last but not least, I would like to thank to Ecsite to trust in us. At this point, I, as a president of Hands-On International, the Association of Children in Museums, I would like to thank Ecsite for the great cooperation of the two organizations. My sincere thanks go to our team that has not only supported my vision during the last 2 years, but also made my vision, my dream, come true. Without this team, I would not stand here in front of you today, and we all would not be here. I wish you an interesting and exciting conference that inspires you. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. President, dear friends and members of Ecsite, as Joerg has already mentioned, it's a great pleasure for us to welcome you all in Graz, and we do hope that you will enjoy your stay. Now, cooperation, the theme of this conference, is of course also a very vital element within our own organization. As the Universalmuseum Joanneum, it's not a dinosaur, although it's more than 200 years old and Austria's oldest museum. But it's also a huge museum complex of 12 museums in the state of Styria, ranging from natural history to contemporary art. But also cooperation with other institutions and organizations is important to us. So when Joerg presented me his idea to bring the Ecsite to Graz, it was clear for me from the beginning that we will do this project together with FRida and Fred and the ScienceCenter-Network. Moreover, our cooperation between the Children's Museum and the Universalmuseum is even going deeper in the future, because I can tell you here that our two organizations, are at the moment planning to jointly open a science center at our Natural History Museum at the end of next year. Now, as a representative of an organization that belongs to the state of Styria, I'd like to thank all political representatives and all departments within the state of Styria who supported us to make this conference possible. I'd like to thank all our Austrian sponsors and of course all the members of our teams. We are really proud of you, and we wish us all a successful conference. Thank you.
Thank you. Dear guests of honor, dear Ecsite friend, dear friends from the Austrian ScienceCentre-Network. I'm really pleased to take this topic of cooperation even further, bridging those two families of the international community and of the Austrian community. This is really a unique opportunity for us. And in the last 10 years, we have built a unique model of a national network here, not based on membership, but on network theory, so based on science, working together in the education and innovation system. As a national actor, please let me give further thanks to the general federal support for the conference provided by the Ministries of Education, Ministry for Science, for Innovation, and for the Arts. When we planned this conference, we took our motto very seriously. So we really tried to make sure to have cooperation an embedded aspect of every aspect of this event. I'll just mention a few. Of course, with our Austrian network partners, we had to make sure there's an opportunity for real connections with the international community. You will have the chance to get a flavor of the network at tomorrow's Nocturne, where numerous partners have prepared very special activities for you, including our own network exhibition. But we also cooperate with educational institutions. You will see young people in Colors of Cooperation t-shirts, and those are students of an event management school here in Graz. We have university students that are involved in sessions and inside events. And obviously, you have noticed our great collaborators from the arts community that will accompany us in all our social programs. And I hope you're all very much looking forward to the gala ball tonight with dancing. And we're also very proud of a very new element that we took on from previous feedbacks to the Ecsite conference, which is, can the conference be closer to the host community, the community of Graz, of Styria, of Austria? And we've actually managed to do this, and that's a project that is called Ecsite for All. And we'll hear more from Joerg about this. Thank you.
From the very beginning, we had a vision to open this conference to public by having local participate in the construction of a machine. The idea behind the title, Ecsite for All, a city constructing a machine, is that inhabitants of Graz, of Austria, try to construct a big machine of chain reaction. And that's how it works. Everybody who wants to take part and participate get a palette, and the goal is that the impulse will be traveling from palette to palette in a domino-like effect. That sounds easy, but is not. There was one thing what was important for us in that project. We animated the public to use recycled materials instead of buying new materials. More than 40 school classes, kindergarten groups, universities, companies, and training workshops have been racked their brains and built part of the machine in the last months. In addition, more than 30 pallets were built in workshops in public places with the help of the locals. All these pallets were assembled in the entrance hall. There you will be able to see the big chain reaction. On Tuesday at noon, the first start of the chain reaction was given to a try, and it worked very well. The last start will take place today at 4 p.m. This part of the conference area is accessible to the public since Tuesday. Everybody who is interested in building his or her own ballet is welcome today. Colors of Cooperation is the slogan of our conference, and also the slogan of this project. A successful chain reaction isn't what most important for us. In fact, it's the process of building all the different parts of a fantastic machine and put them together. Thousands of hands have contributed to the construction of the machine, and so it has our team contributed to the conference. In place of everyone who has supported this project, I would like to thank our team for drafting the project and for making it work. Now I would like to invite you to get an impression. Please have a look at the fantastic machine of chain reaction in the entrance hall, and please feel free to enlarge it. Ecsite for all, mingle with the local. Thank you.
Whew, this is big. So many people here. Dear friends, colleagues, honored guests, Mr. and Mrs. President, I was just sitting there and thinking, how blessed can a country be if the President and his wife are both keen fans of science and education? Maybe we should try this model all over Europe, right? Dear friends, colleagues, participants, on behalf of the board of Ecsite, the Ecsite office team and its wonderful director, I wish you a very warm welcome on this annual conference in the beautiful city of Graz. In my first year as president, I've had the privilege to work with the board and the team in Brussels, and I can assure you, these people are amazing. Here, today, we are together with more than 1,000 people coming from more than 50 different countries. 1,000 individuals, personalities, containing an enormous amount of knowledge, experience, and all sharing a passion for science, communication, engagement, and learning. Some of you are here, and you are part of the Ecsite family for more than 20 years. And for some of you, this will be your first conference. And let me assure you, you will have a great and meaningful experience. And again, this year, the program committee has done a truly excellent job. Did you know that over 400 people in this hall were in some way involved in making the program for this year? Talking about co-creation. I don't think there's one conference in the world where nearly half of the participants are also actively involved and responsible for the content. I think this is truly amazing. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank my fellow board members. This team of 14, I will introduce them to you after my short speech, is representing big and small science centers, organizations, museums from all over Europe. They are here for you, our members, and I invite you, after you have met them on the screen, to talk to them, ask questions, share your ideas and suggestions. That's why we're here for. Another word of thanks goes to our sponsors, the companies in the business bistro presenting the latest developments. They're not just business partners, they're real partners and important partners in our network. They're helping us to implement new solutions and technologies, help us to realize our ideas and to create better and more effective programs, exhibitions and visitor experiences in our centers. We're a European network and our theme is Colors of Cooperation. And I already showed you how many different partners make this program, this event possible. I know that all the partners do not just offer their cooperation, but also offer their colors of inspiration and innovation to you. And this is great, and it's necessary because we still have a lot of work to do. And yes, we all do important work. We create meaningful experiences for people, for children, parents, teachers. We learn, improve, inspire, and are constantly seeking how to have a stronger and better impact on society. We represent Europe and progress. And we all know there's a sort of dark, cold wind blowing through Europe. So I think we need Europe and Europe needs us. We're undergoing a rather difficult and sometimes uncertain phase. Immigration, refugees, terror, things like that can make people scared. And we are truly a European network, and we all of us represent its values. So we can help, and we can show that inclusion is so much better than looking for enemies that are often not really there. Thank you. We stand for solutions, for the belief that science and technology can help us and help people to tell the difference between facts and fiction. I think science is a really strong weapon against ignorance and stupidity. This annual conference will inspire us, and hopefully your heads will be filled with new ideas, meeting new interesting people, and so you're energized again when you return to your offices on Monday. Dear members, I've expressed many thanks to so many different people and partners that makes this event possible. So last but not least, many thanks to the wonderful team of Graz, Joerg, Wolfgang, Barbara, you and your organizations have done such a great job. When we came here, we immediately felt at ease and welcome. And you're the living example of how effective colorful cooperation can be. I wish us all a fantastic conference. Thank you very much. We're supposed to see the pictures of our board members now. So, here we are. You know that one already. This is our museum in Amsterdam and our new rooftop exhibition. We have an executive committee. This is Rosalia from Senza Viva, Pavilion of Knowledge in Portugal, past president. And this is Svein Anders Dahl, Chief Executive Officer of Vivite in Bergen, Norway. He's leaving us after this conference. His period is finished. Jean-Baptiste Desbois, our treasurer, takes care of the money from the Cité de l'Espace in Toulouse, France. Pilvi Kolk from AHA Science Center in Tartu, way up north. Vincenzo Lipardi, CEO of Città della Scienza in Naples, Italy, which is rebuilding again. Kim Gladstone Herlef, CEO of Experimentarium, Hellerup, Denmark. Michele Lansinger, Director, we see Muse, where we were last year in Trento. Ernesto Paramos Ureda, Director of Parque de las Ciencias in the beautiful city of Granada, where we will have our Directors Forum. Helen Jones, Head of Program Support from the Science Museum in London. Unfortunately, her husband is ill, so she will not be here, but she is a wonderful member of the board. Herbert Munder, Managing Director of Universalmuseum in Bremen. You see the beautiful building he works. Mia Kos, House of Experiment, if you don't mind, Mia, in Ljubljana, Slovenia. Jan Alfred Andersson, Manager of Viven Center at the Norwegian Museum of Science and Technology in Oslo. Daniel Wetterskog, Head of the Museum of Performing Arts in Stockholm, Sweden. These are your 14 board members. Please talk to us and we'll talk back to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Dear guests of honor, dear colleagues, good morning and welcome to the Ecsite conference. I must confess, I'm curious. Curious about you, about the future, about the edge, about how things happen, why they happen, what would happen if they didn't happen, curious about happenings and about openings. Luckily, I'm not alone. How little of my curiosity could I satisfy if it weren't for people like you who reflect, research, rewrite, read, and remember. Curiosity cannot exist without the other. Alberto Manguel wrote in his wonderful essay, affirmations, declarations tend to isolate, while questions tend to connect. Curiosity is a way to declare our belonging to humanity, and humanity we need. If curiosity requires cooperation with another person, can cooperation exist without curiosity? How does it feel to work with someone self-sufficient, not interested in you? Only when two souls meet, open to influence, to being tainted in another color, only then can cooperation exist, or a meaningful one. One where I recognize that your views, different from mine, will nourish me and enrich our collective thinking and acting. It's great to be curious, yet we can get lost in curiosity, accumulating information without taking time to crystallize it into something meaningful and generous. It's easy to lose oneself in a kind of curiosity consumerism. Like, I've learned to drive a car, I know all the rules, the nuts and bolts, but I'm still looking for the road. What kind of road can channel curiosity? Now, I would not spontaneously turn to a logo for guidance on such a profound question, but there is a C in this logo here that wants to come out, and that's been troubling me for the last months. And it's a C for conscience. Conscience, science. Etymologically, it comes from cum, or with, and sire, or knowledge, and it literally means shared knowledge. Later, it took a moral sense, as if it was by sharing knowledge that a world with dignity could take shape. Science engagement does create opportunities for shared knowledge. Do we realize that by doing so, we also deal with morality, ethics? Our job is so much more than numbers and figures. Science engagement is right there, where curiosity and conscience pulse together. We're very good at stimulating curiosity about nature, discoveries about the self, about the others, about future scenarios. But if on top of curiosity we also prompt conscience, maybe by working more with humanities, for example, if our publics become not only knowledgeable and empowered, but also conscious in science, then I'd say we are a unique species. It's a wonderful world, it really is. But we also have a responsibility. Robert Frost. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. 3 C's: curiosity, conscience, cooperation. Curiosity is our connection to humanity. Curiosity without conscience is of limited use. Conscience calls and pleads for cooperation. It's obvious that we need to cooperate to reform this world, the only one we've got. In science engagement, not only can we connect people with science and technology, but we should also connect people with science and technology. Have you noticed? I've said the same thing twice. Connect people with science and technology. I mean, use science and technology to connect people to one another, defying differences, silos and frontiers, and never anymore think of science without conscience. 3 C's, just like in the logo, symbolizing the tremendous teams at FRida and FRED, at the ScienceCenter-Network, and at Universalmuseum, with whom we had a ball organizing this conference. My head and my heart warmly thank you. And then 2 other C's in the ACPC, the 15 people that devote entire days to select the content of the conference. And a discrete C in Ecsite, the Ecsite team, my team. I thanked those C's for their superb work throughout the year, 6 C's that somehow together manage to create wonderful oceans. Now it's your turn to play and create your C's: conference, conversations, coffees, controversies, courage. Your own carrot, the rewarding cake, or turn the C around, make it a U. Ubiquity, universal, a ukulele jazz band? You'll see for yourself. Have a great conference. Thank you for being here. Enjoy.
Dear Mr. President, Mrs. Fischer, ladies and gentlemen, as City Councillor, I am responsible for education, sport and integration. It's a pleasure for me to welcome you here, and we are very honored that you picked Graz as the host city for your annual conference. Graz is the second largest city of Austria. It has nearly 300,000 inhabitants and it is the capital of Styria. Graz is a very multicultural society with people from more than 160 nations. Graz is also a city of education, science and technology. At the moment, we count more than 40,000 children attending our schools. We have 4 universities, 2 universities of applied sciences and 2 teachers training schools. 60,000 students are currently studying at the universities of Graz. To give you an idea about our long-lasting tradition of university education, I will tell you one interesting fact. The oldest university in Graz was founded by the Archduke Charles II in 1585. Today, Graz is also one of the fastest growing cities in the whole German-speaking area. Per year, we welcome around 5,000 people as new inhabitants in our city. Therefore, building new schools is an important issue, and we invest around 50 million euro to build a modern school infrastructure. Graz is also trying to implement a lot of projects regarding the whole area of education. As a result, Graz has developed an educational strategy which is called Bildung findet statt. For this purpose, including around 70 targets, improve educational situation in our city. In today's educational landscape, cooperation between various partners is very, very important. That's why I'm very glad that you picked Colors of Cooperation as the title for this year's conference. For over 25 years, Excite's mission is trying to inspire and empower science centers, museums, and all organizations that engage people with science and to promote their actions. The network includes more than 350 organizations in Europe and worldwide. For all your precious work this year, I'd like to thank you. And I hope this conference will be a part of continuing your successful work in the future. Thank you for your attention. I wish you all the best for this year's conference, and I hope that you will also have the opportunity to enjoy the beauty of our city during your stay. Thank you.
Dear Mr. President, dear Margit Fischer, ladies and gentlemen, I warmly welcome you all to Graz, as you already know, the capital of Styria. As the president of the Styrian Parliament, it's really a big pleasure for me that the most prominent meeting of science engagement professionals in Europe is taking place in Styria this year. So right in the beginning, I would like to thank all of the driving forces which realized this event here in Graz, and I will do it in a very short way because many thankful words have already been told. So let me just say, you all did a really great job. Thank you very much. I'm very proud to see events like this in Styria. So my part is now, ladies and gentlemen, to tell you just the facts about Styria. Styria is also known as the Green Heart of Austria, and has many outstanding features. From its picturesque landscape and centuries-old culture and architecture with bold and modern influences to its exquisite cuisine. Despite its many tourist attractions, Styria is above all an export-oriented industrial region where there is a close cooperation between industry, research, and development. We are glad about the R&D rate in Styria. It's 4.8%, so we can proudly say that our beautiful region is the Wise Europe master in R&D. Together with our research institutions, Styrian industry focuses on different sectors, such as the automotive cluster, which consists of global players like Magna or AVL, as well as of hundreds of small and medium-sized enterprises. We also have clusters in the areas of ecotechnology, health technology and materials, where the individual companies each contribute their special know-how to the collective capacity of the cluster. I truly like the title of this year's conference because it emphasizes the fact that cooperation of any kind is colorful and full of diversity. At this point, it is worth to mention, Mr. Hohensinner already did it, that Graz has about 300,000 inhabitants from more than 160 nations, speaking 150 languages. This is living diversity. From deepest conviction, I'm sure that diversity is enormously important and very desirable in almost all aspects. That is, for example, the diversity of human beings in our society, the diversity of the people's skills, and of course, the diversity of science and also of cooperation. I think that the Ecsite annual conference will be a very precious opportunity to socialize with each other and to expand the own network of contacts. I'm sure that this conference will be a vibrant, creative, and productive stage for scientific and innovative talks, and I'm sure that there will be growing the one or other future project. Furthermore, I hope you also will find some time and take the opportunity to enjoy the cultural sites of Styria and its capital, Graz. If your timetable does not allow you some leisure time here, please come again and bring your family and friends. Concluding, ladies and gentlemen, I once more warmly welcome all of you to Styria and wish you all an interesting convention, fruitful talks, and a successful conference. Let's close me with Styrian Glück auf.
Distinguished delegates, guests of honor, participants, friends, ladies and gentlemen. There are two premieres at the moment for me. First of all, it is the first time that Ecsite, the General Conference of Ecsite, is taking place in Austria. And believe me, I know a little bit about the lot of work and the hard work which is behind the organizers so that they can present and start the conference today. Another very small premiere is that after almost being 12 years president of this country, it is the very, very, very first time that I was greeted on a conference by my wife, and in return, I can greet my wife at such a conference. Dear Margit, you have done an excellent job. Of course, not alone. There are many who are really devoted to the ideas of Ecsite, to the idea of ScienceCenter-Network, etc. When I entered this building, Grazer Messe, about 70 minutes ago, and I had a look on the installations and on the exhibits, I was already quite sure that this will be a successful conference. And when I had a first impression after 10 minutes, how this conference is organized, how much of charm and pleasure and ideas and innovations are included in this opening ceremony, I was totally sure that it will be a success. And I believe that to give a chance to Austria and to give a chance to Graz was not a too high risk, because in general, Austria is a country hosting many international conferences and meetings, etc. And as it was said already, Graz is a special place. I'm born in Graz. I'm totally objective, of course, but I know, since I was a student and a member of the Students' Parliament, that Vienna and Graz are the two places with the greatest number of students, of professors. And the phenomenon of Graz is that it is a city with, as we heard, roughly almost 300,000 inhabitants. And out of 100 inhabitants in Graz, almost 20 are students. The proportion of students in Graz is the highest in Austria, and I believe that there are not many other European countries where we have such a big share, such a big proportion of students. It is a pity that Margit discovered the idea of science centers and networks for herself only in 1992. If she would have done this 10 years earlier, I was Minister of Science and Research from 83 to 87, and I could have been more helpful in this capacity. In 1992, I was President of the Parliament. This was a different job, different profession, but I was invited to a visit to Canada, and Margit was so fascinated by a science center in Vancouver. And this was how the whole story, so to say, started. Not only for her, but also for me, because from that time, the word science center, or Ecsite, or exhibits, was present on every breakfast at home, on several dinners, on several trips in the car, because it is an interesting idea to add to our school system and to our university system the idea to bring young people close to science, to make it easy for them to understand, to have pleasure, to have good feelings, to learn, and probably it's much easier for a child if she has, in addition to school, such an opportunity. Therefore, I can only support this idea I can only wish you a success for this meeting, for this Ecsite meeting with almost 1,000 delegates. But in the same sentence, I want to say, I wish success to the whole idea of science centers and to the whole idea of a new approach how young people, children, etc., can get a personal relation to science, to technology, to innovations, etc. There was a description on Graz, there was a description on Styria. Now it would be my turn to describe a little bit on Austria, but I know I have a limited speaking time. When I was speaker in parliament, I was always very strict, so I'm now strict with myself. I thank you for coming, I thank you for your attention, and I wish you a very fine, successful, and pleasant conference. Thank you. So, I have to tell you very officially, the conference is successfully opened. Thank you.